many parts of the job of being mayor that I absolutely love, but this is a special honor to be here today to recognize someone who has served our country so notably, so honorably, and so bravely. And I think that Colonel and his family and all of us here, particularly the veterans who have served this country, this is not only for the Colonel, but it's for all the veterans who are here today. So let's give a round of applause to all the veterans who are here. But this is a special day for Colonel Modrzejewski. He's home. He's back from San Diego. He much prefers the weather in Milwaukee today from any weather that you could possibly have in San Diego. And of course, it's a special day for him. It's a special day for us because he is the first Wisconsin citizen to become a Vietnam Medal of Honor recipient. Robert Joseph Modrzejewski began his military career with the United States Marine Corps when he was 23 years old. He fought in the Vietnam War and rose to the rank of colonel. In March 1968, President Lyndon B. Johnson presented the Congressional Medal of Honor to Robert Modrzejewski for his actions during Operation Hastings. Colonel Modrzejewski became the first Wisconsin citizen to become a Vietnam Medal of Honor recipient. As a child, Colonel Modrzejewski spent a lot of time on the great south side of Milwaukee. He spent time at the playground near his house playing baseball and basketball. He also learned how to swim at Cleveland Playground. Through his military career and dedication, he has defended our country and has defended our freedom. Modrzejewski Playground will serve as a reminder to all citizens of Milwaukee of his great accomplishments. Colonel Modrzejewski is retiring after serving 30 years in the Marines. He and his wife Diane are now enjoying their retirement in San Diego, California, but the Colonel, I am proud to say, is joining us today to dedicate this playground in his honor. It gives me great pleasure as mayor of the city of Milwaukee to proclaim this day, Tuesday, April 12th, as Colonel Robert Modrzejewski Day throughout the entire city of Milwaukee.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for having me here this morning. I promise I won't take too long, but I would like to make a few formal remarks. You know, many times over the past 40 years, we've been, those of us in the Medal of Honor Society have been honored, truly honored, by thousands of people. But I must tell you, Mayor, that coming back to one's hometown and being honored by the citizens of this great city is certainly at the top of the list, and I want to thank you very much, sir. Many times, those of us in the Medal of Honor Society are asked, are all Medal of Honor recipients heroes? Well, my answer to that has always been a very emphatic no. We just were doing our job. I doubt that there is anyone here, living or deceased or anywhere in between, who thinks of himself as a hero. Today in our society, where people are unaware of the national anthem or do not even know the words to the Pledge of Allegiance, where prayer in public is seldom done, and when it is, it's frowned upon, or when the word hero is generally reserved for a movie or a rock star or a sports figure, the word hero is not really applicable to those who should receive that title. Who then are the real heroes? Certainly Sergeant First Class Paul Smith, the most recent Medal of Honor recipient from the U.S. Army, who was killed saving the lives of his men, is one. Mr. Gary Wetzel, right here, who left part of his arm in Vietnam, is another. Those lying in Arlington National Cemetery under white crosses are certainly heroes. Those in our other national or local or state cemeteries also. The 58,000 names on the Vietnam Wall are heroes, as are the 1,500 plus those soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen who have given their lives so far in Iraq and Afghanistan. The real heroes are those of you here today who are parents, who gave us a loved one, a son, a daughter, a husband, a wife, or another loved one, and told us to bring them back safely. Most of the time we were successful. Some of the time we were not. They were called to fight, they had a job to do, and they did it. They did it despite the terrible experiences that men and women in all of our wars have faced. A number of years ago, in a letters to the editor column of the San Diego newspaper, an article appeared written by a Mr. Jim Lickness. And although he was talking about his experiences in Vietnam, what he said has been a common theme through all the wars that this country has fought. Those of you who have had military experience will relate to what he said, and I'd like to quote parts of it. We dreamt of home, of American girls, of cars and hamburgers. We lived for letters from home. We counted the days until we would return. The food was lousy. The bugs were everywhere. You had no privacy. A sound night's sleep was impossible. Death was always close. And finally, some of us went home. We're neighbors, we're stockbrokers, we're handymen, we're teachers, we're mechanics, and construction workers. It was hard service, but we served out of a sense of duty. We were forever changed, physically, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. We learned about sacrifice, about courage, determination, and the honor of duty performed. But most of all, we want you to appreciate the freedoms and the liberties we all enjoy in this country, and the part that our military men and women have done to ensure them. Unquote. A noted radio news commentator speaking at a fundraising event once said, "The two greatest symbols that this country has ever had are Jesus Christ on the cross and the men and women who have served in this country's military and are those that are serving today." Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Colonel, for those very inspirational words. Thank all of you for being here this morning. I think all of us recognize the sacrifices that have been made on behalf of the people who live in our country by those brave men and women who have had the duty, the honor, the responsibility for defending our freedoms throughout the world. And whether it was in Vietnam, whether it's in Iraq, whether it was overseas in World War II, I think that it's our obligation, particularly those of us in leadership positions in public office, to make sure that the citizens of our country never forget the sacrifices that were made to preserve our freedoms. Have a great day. Thank you very much.